The Beatles are poachers, and it's well known that their attacked and used me as a symbol of their propertizing agency over the United States to control and subordinate our society to their obvious mania. And what I propose to do about Europe is explain a few things about what they actually pulled. We know from investigation into the semiotic superstory that many concepts came from Ayn Rand. For example, the use of disappearing acts, the Houdini system of what she called prime movers, was deployed in Atlas Shrugged. Now, NASA developed something that would have defeated John Galt in Atlas Shrugged, the ability to enter the mind itself through brainwave sonar, the fulfillment of the dream of paranoid schizophrenia. And Ayn Rand said, well, we can out harness that by sneaking away a prime mover to operate from the fourth dimension so that they're believed to be gone. And this was the Houdini trick that the palace pulled with both Hitler and Lenin. And they called it Casper because fascism, they say, is the friendly ghost. We don't know who our friends are, and so on. Ken Crimson has been particularly noxious in propertizing me, using Greg Correll's formula for the dialectic of pigment and figment. A Stalinist trick comes from Ken Crimson psychiatrizing their victim. And what they expect and prod me for is what Ayn Rand called the sanction of the victim. One of the things that we know about the semiotic superstory is that Gail Burstyn was in a War College index from the Ayn Rand superstory that came down through the fourth dimensional realpolitik of futurism from Mussolini and D.W. Griffith, the replacement of JFK with Ronald Reagan by the acts of poaching that are very typical of the Beatles, who are extraordinarily brutal in securing their dominion. And the image from We the Living has the resemblance of Gail Burstyn with her hands cupped over her ears against the deafening blast of Hiroshima, for which JFK was decapitated as a war criminal in compensation to the east-west traffic that has always been part of the British Opium War psychology. And they're stunned, which I've covered extensively in my blog. They're nasty idea of helping the fools burn themselves alive. And the orthodoxy that sees that as a sublime meditation. What's infuriating to me about it was that the Beatles and their double cross system went around with people like the Stooges in our cities and our public schools and just dumped this agonizing rejection of public schools on our cities and through their psychology. I mean, greedy desire to manipulate people by their minds is highly characteristic of them. So don't be surprised that they have these brainy, cerebral, mystical meditations that they say give justification from the Android zone of their pets in the workshop of they call Pepperland or whatever when they release Pepper virus, you to get us into line and so on. I mean, people who think that Noam Chomsky did a good job should second guess that. He's always been a lackey of Reagan. In the 80s, he said nothing about Gail Burstyn, and there's a reason. He has a pitchfork and a torch when it comes to JFK. JFK, however, was um, a reformer of the New Deal dimension. Chomsky has said if a person doesn't conform to the New Deal, they don't belong in our government, and I agree with that. There was no reason for these forces to expel JFK from our government. But what they've done has been a very shoddy master trick. Rather than reformers, they come along as fascist inclusiveness. You see, so the setback to reform and the setback to the encouragement of independence movements in Africa rhyme and reason in our politics with Asia and with Russia. The setback in all this, the kicking out the New Deal Democrats and putting in the installation for inclusive fascism with all that it has insufferably required um, is characteristic of uh, you know the grinning horde of poachers who figure they can tickle you into line because it's better than being stabbed to death. But that's not friendship and that's not diplomatic courtesy. They come somewhere they're not welcome when they bother me. Okay, and it makes graphic relief of the tedium and snotlery of their claim that I was trespassing by politely approaching them and saying I existed. They beamed down from the Android zone and said, "You're not welcome here in our country." And that's what's going on, you know. So all I've done is said what happened. It belongs in the editorial pages. It belongs in the New York Times. They're not going to let it go there. So, instead it's in Yahoo. Yahoo. You know, it's the best I can do, but at least, it shows that there's still some valor in the newspaper business. Someone did try to speak out for Eleanor Roosevelt against the maniacal souffle bizarros that came out of the woodwork of British tinkering with people's tastes. It's a cover for the Trojan horse politics. I don't like them for it. I want them to leave me alone. It's the message. I don't like them for it. What I'm saying is that they tamper with my computer to be infuriating. That's what they are. They're like hybrid warriors, the Putin's trolls. And we do have to civilize ourselves in order to set a decent example for the world around us. But we do that by reformers, not by fascist inclusiveness. I don't get what's going on with the schism in the world where people don't realize that. But, you know, we've been stomped by people who claim they're trying to save us. They're not trying to save us, they're just poachers. You know, it's the way I see Donald Trump is he's got a big, huge, happy city all his own. and he wants everybody else to just kick him out. Get off my planet. This is his attitude. I don't think anything that vi- viable about working with his friends on the operation base of um, the people who tamper with my computer to be infuriated, to remind me that they wangled the claim that I was the one not welcome. But the sanction of the victim depended a lot on this. It depended on my not realizing it was them who had attacked me to begin with. I was very sly.